And so finally, Dante and Beatrice rise up to the Empyrean, the realm beyond time, beyond form, the mystic center, source and destination of each soul's journey. And to Dante, it is more real, more alive than anything he has ever known. Beatrice here becomes ever more beautiful, and her smile ever more lovely. And he knows he will never ever be able to describe her beauty. He has spent a lifetime trying to capture her loveliness. Now he must relinquish every last lingering drop of possessiveness toward her. And when he does so, his love for her shifts to a whole new octave. We have come into the heaven of pure light, she tells him, filled with love, love of true goodness, filled with joy, joy that transcends every sweetness. A river of pure light then appears before him, in which Beatrice guides him to bathe his eyes. And instantly, a great radiance enwraps him, rendering his sight so strengthened, says Dorothy Sayers, that nothing now can vanquish it. Look upon our city, Beatrice tells him, how beautiful it is. And Dante looks and sees, and he knows the yellow rose beyond, symbol of purity, love and beauty. Like the 1,000-petal lotus of Buddhism, the sacred golden flower of the Tao, the end and the beginning of all. And the souls of the blessed are there assembled, and their faces were all of living flame, Dante writes, their wings of gold, and the rest of them so white that snow never reached that limit. This is where Beatrice herself will take her place when they part at the end of the canto. But for now, she continues to help Dante more fully understand what he is seeing. There is still room within the rose, she tells him, for souls from times yet to come, maybe even souls from future spiritual dispensations. And as Dante looks on, he is bathed in the shining light that issues forth from that company. And he turns back momentarily to his lady, to his beloved, to share his wonderment. But she is no longer there. Instead, a kindly old man, Bernard of Clairvaux, stands beside him. He will take over here, as Beatrice took over from Virgil in Canto 30 of the Purgatorio. He will lead Dante onward to his final vision. Now, commentators like Helen Luke see this transition as very much a reflection of Dante's integration of his anima, represented throughout his life by Beatrice. The old man is a classic representation of the archetype of the self in Jungian terms. Where is she? Dante asks his new guide. Beatrice brought me from my place to lead your desire to its goal. And if you look up at the third circle from the highest level, you will see her again on that throne her merit has marked out for her. I raised my eyes without answering and saw her making a crown for herself by reflecting the eternal light from her person. Dante then speaks to her for the final time. O Lady, in whom my hope has life, and who for my salvation suffered to leave your footprints in hell, I recognize the grace and virtue of all I have seen through your power and your goodness. And then, in the only moment in the entire Commedia, he addresses her with the familiar tu. Tu mi hai di servo tratto e libertate. You have drawn me out of slavery to freedom. And she, far off though she appeared, smiled and gazed at me and turned toward the eternal fountain. The old man then tells Dante to gaze deeply into the petals of the rose, and there at last he beholds the great glory of the Virgin, Queen of Heaven, and the celestial choirs sang, Ave Maria, gratia plena, Hail Mary, full of grace. A flame of peace, Dante calls her, beauty in the eyes of all who were gathered. And she was smiling at the dances and their songs. And if I had words as rich as my imagination, he writes, I would still not dare to attempt the smallest part of her delightfulness. Ring upon ring of radiant souls surrounded her, and their faces were suddenly clearer. St. Francis, Augustine, Thomas Aquinas, Adam, but many female saints too, Sarah, Rebecca, Judith from the Old Testament, and Santa Lucia, who carried Dante up the mountain to the adamant gate on the Mountain of the Purgatorio. She who had been so instrumental in his rescue and salvation, who had received a prayer from the Virgin to prevail upon Beatrice to go down into hell, to seek aid for him from Virgil. There is also Eve, described as lovely by Saint Bernard, sitting close to the Blessed Virgin at the rose's heart. We can only imagine Dante's contemporaries being somewhat shocked, and indeed some might be today, and yet, as Mark Vernon points out, Eve's presence here completes the doctrine of the Christian dispensation. The one so beautiful at Mary's feet, Saint Bernard tells Dante, is she who opened and who made the wound, which Mary closed again and then anointed. It is an image that fuses together the beginning and the end of this great story in order to reveal its inner unity, its divine order and harmony. Eve is now not merely other and fallen, but also blessed, also mother, the first to set foot upon the path to salvation. This preponderance of female figures in Dante's vision should not surprise us. Like Beatrice, these are the anima figures, as the Jungians would say, who represent the feminine aspects of the individual and collective psyche. Male questors in solar myths and fairy tales are frequently searching for the lost inner feminine soul in order to rebalance themselves and their collective, though they often fall victim to the negative pole of the archetype along the way, as Dante has done many times. Saint Bernard then turned his eyes toward the Virgin Queen with so much love, and kneeling, he began to pray, and every soul present prayed also for Dante and for his final illumination. Lady, you are so great. In you is tenderness. In you is pity. In you is generosity. Now he, who has seen the lives of the souls, one by one, from the deepest pool of the universe, even to here, begs you of your grace, for enough strength to lift his eyes higher toward his final bliss. My vision then was greater than our speech, Dante tells us, which fails at such a sight, and memory fails at such an assault. I am like one who sees in a dream, and when the dream is gone, an impression set there remains, but nothing else comes to mind again, but the sweetness born from it still distills inside my heart. In its depths I saw ingathered and bound by love into one volume all things that are scattered through the universe, substance and accident and their relations, as if joined in such a manner that what I speak of is one simplicity of light. And it is a light, a sentient light, that knows, is known, and is the knowing. In the profound and shining being of that deep light, Dante continues, 3 circles appeared entwined, so that one could not be distinguished from the other. Now this notion of the 3, the Trinitarian unity, is central to Dante's beatific vision, the symbolism of which we have seen reflected throughout the entire poem. 3 canticles, 33 canti in each, aside from the Inferno, all rendered in his 3-part rhyming scheme, the terza rima. Beatrice appears in Canto 30 of the Purgatorio and departs in Canto 30 of the Paradiso. There are those who have speculated too that the Trinity might be seen reflected in the 3 states of mind and the 3 meta-evolutionary phases intimated in the 3 canticles, with the Inferno representing the Old Testament with its wrathful, punishing God, the Purgatorio, the New Testament, with its compassionate and forgiving God, and the Paradiso, the incorporeal realm of love and light, with its angelic host and redeemed feminine principle. 3 is the framework of the entire poem, woven into the very fabric of its creation on every conceivable level. And as Dante peers into those circles, he sees the face of God illumined there, and that of humanity too, and they are one and the same. In God there is humanity, in man there is God. In Dio c'è l'uomo, nell'uomo c'è Dio. How can this be? Dante is thrown totally beyond the capacity of his understanding. Like a geometer who sets himself to measure in radii the exact circumference of the circle, and who cannot find by thought the principle he lacks, so was I at this new sight. I wished to see how the image fitted the circle, but my true wings had not been made for this. Then a great flash of understanding struck my mind, and suddenly its wish was granted. At this point, power failed high fantasy, but like a wheel in perfect balance turning, I felt my will and my desire impelled by the love that moves the sun and the other stars. L'amor che muove il sole e le altre stelle. O light, Dante had prayed just a few lines earlier. O light exalted beyond mortal thought, grant that in memory I see again but one small part of how you then appeared. And grant my tongue sufficient power that it may leave behind a single spark of glory for the people yet to come. 700 years later, we can safely say that his prayer was answered. So I want to end with a final, deep, deep bow to Dante Alighieri, il nostro sommo poeta, as he is so fondly known in Italy, our supreme poet. In a mythological context, he is a hero par excellence. He has completed the perilous quest, the deep inner journey and exploration of the psyche, as Joseph Campbell describes in The Hero with 1,000 Faces. And in doing so, he has shown us all a way through the deepest darkness imaginable to the highest heights of the soul's joy and fulfillment in the ineffable light. La Divina Commedia is the treasure brought back from his great quest and bequeathed to us all in perpetuity.